So first we're going to flash the glass. Soon as you start to get a glow on your glass, you can stop flashing it and leave it in the flame. We're going to heat up the mandrel in the center of the bead release, not on the end. Heat it up so it starts to turn gray. You're going to attach the two. As soon as you're sure that they've attached, you're going to release it and let the tail dangle so it's hanging down. And you're heating up just below where the tail touches the mandrel. And you're letting it slowly spin. As the glass drops down, you know you spin just a little bit further so that the tail is kind of pointing out towards you just a little bit. If it starts to go off to the side, you can tap it with your tools. Remember, metal tools stay out of the flame. They don't go into the flame. If they get too hot, the glass will stick to it, and you don't want that. I'm going to take the tool again, the pliers, kind of push down my tail so it's attached now. And then I'm going to rotate my bead. When I'm rotating my bead, I want to make sure that I'm heating up all sides of it. So I rotate so it's pointing at the left side, and then I heat up the center again, and then I heat up the right side so that all the glass is evenly being heated so I don't get cold spots. If I have a side that is really tall and a side that is skinny from the angle, I'll heat up the entire bead, pull it out of the flame, and let some of the glass droop to the skinny side so that when I marver it, which I'm about to do, it will even itself out a little bit. I'm going to try that one more time. I'm going to let the skinny side face down one more time so I can let the glass droop. And then I put it back in the flame, and then I gently marver it so that I'm getting a more consistent bead. Correct any edges that I may need to correct. I would be happy with that bead as a beginning base bead. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a clear piece of glass, again with my pliers, and I'm going to flash it. The flame that you see is because I had a little glue on it when I started off. As soon as the clear is hot, now clear does not glow like other colors, so you just kind of look to see if it's getting rounded, and it is. And since it's rounded, I'm going to attach it to my bead and then again release, and I'm going to let it dangle off towards the bottom again with the tail slightly pointing towards me. And I'm going to continue slowly turning and heating up the glass as I go, because the bottom portion of the glass was not hot when I put it on. As soon as I get it all the way around, again, I'm going to press down the tail. And now what I'm going to do is I'm shooting the flame into the section where the original bead touches the mandrel. Glass wants to follow the heat, so if I am shooting in towards the mandrel and where the glass bead originally was, it's going to slowly go that direction. Now I've rotated that one probably 6 times, so I'm going to come over to the other side and do the exact same thing, rotating it about 6 times so that I get this side to start to droop down towards the mandrel edge and start encasing the original bead that I had placed inside. I will also go over the center about 3 times, and then I will rotate back to my original side to get the glass to seep down that direction as well. Not sure if you can completely see it on the video, but you can see the glass, the clear glass, going over the edge of the original bead on the inside. to put some beads, some dots, not beads, some dots on my bead, and so I want my bead to cool off. So I'm going to put it in the far out flame so that it cools a bit, so that when I go to put my dots on it, I'm not misshaping my dots or the bead. Before you start decorating a bead, you want the outside surface to have a hard enough tension that you could click it on your on your marver and you would hear the click. So there's my click, but it's still warm so it won't break. Then I'm going to take my stringer, heat it up to the ball size that I'm interested in putting on my bead. I pull it out of the flame, I touch down, I go back into the flame to flame break it. Put that one on the bottom. And generally when I do these, I'll do them 3 in the center, so that I'm getting even placement. After I have 3 in the center, I will then do 3 on the edge in between each of my original beads, again so that I'm getting even placement. Keep in mind I am creating the dot size that I want in the flame, pulling it out, touching down, and then going back into the flame to break it off. And then I do need to every so often roll those dots in the flame, because if they get cold, they will start popping off. My next set of beads go directly across from the second set of beads that I did. Dots, not beads. You can see how my dots are all still raised up. I want to make sure that they're about the same size before I go forward, otherwise my dots will be larger in some spots than others. So I see one that I want to make a little bit larger. It's one of my original ones, so I'm just going to put a little bit more gloss right on that one so that it's equal with the other ones. And now I start rotating my bead in the same pattern that I did when I was encasing. I do one edge, maybe the center a little bit, and then I do the other edge. I can rotate the bead any direction I want, as long as it's continuing to rotate consistently. The reason I don't do the center as much as I do the edges is because the center is getting a residual heat from both sides, because the flame is not directly on the sides. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep rotating until I'm happy with the shape of my bead. If my bead is off-centered, when I look at it from the side that way, I can always do that trick that I showed you earlier, which is heat up the entire bead, pull it out of the flame, and let the glass droop a little bit so that the inside of the bead that is still extremely hot starts to droop down to the skinny side. But this one has an okay shape to it. It's pretty consistent. If I have any side that's a little fatter than the others, I can take a set of tweezers and kind of pull it in just a little bit, very gently. And then I will heat it up one more time, and then I'm ready to cool it off in my outer flame so that I don't get thermal shock. You can see the entire time I've been working this bead, my bead is at least 3 inches away from the tip of the torch so that I don't get extra propane changing the color of my glass. That is how you get those funny gray streaks or brown streaks in your glass. Okay, so I'm happy with my shape. My dots are all flat and I wanted them. So now I'm going to put it way out in the flame. I don't know if you can tell, but my color is starting to come back a little bit, so it's less bright orange and it's starting to get a deeper red, which means the inside is cooled off by quite a bit. And I have the flame just so it's kind of tickling the outside of the bead, keeping the outside of the bead hot while I'm cooling down the inside section of the bead so that I'm releasing some of the tension. So this is doing the helping with the annealing process. Okay, so it's a nice color, nice shape, and I'm going to walk it over to the bed. What I'm looking for is any inner glow. I don't want it to be overly hot on the inside when I go to put it in. Otherwise it will stick to the fiber blanket. I lay it down, and then as you guys know, you're not allowed to look at it for another 35 minutes or you'll get thermal shock and your bead will break. If it doesn't break immediately, it will break in the near future.
Dun dun dun!